Thank you both for being here today. As someone who sews, I think I can speak for almost everyone who's ever had a fitting problem, that you look at a pattern envelope and see what the garment's supposed to look like, and you do all of the work, and unfortunately then it just doesn't fit our own bodies. Do you find that this is the problem you've encountered?
Definitely, and I spent 20 years looking for the right fit, and now that I've found how to do it, I'd like to share it with everybody else.
Okay, let's talk about a mannequin, a dress form that many of us have and have tried to work with, but they don't also fit our bodies either, do they?
No, they don't. This is not an industrial dress form, but I've put the lines on it the way an industrial dress form would have it. And an industrial dress form is what both the ready-to-wear industry and the commercial pattern industry for home sewers uses to develop their patterns.
Like a size 12 or a size 14 or whatever.
Exactly. The problem is that this does not look like most women. Okay. The closer you look to this body in shape and posture and everything else, the easier time you're going to have to buy clothing, the easier time you're going to have to make clothing. But if you don't look like this, then it gets difficult.
And we've asked Edna to show what some of the differences that some of us might encounter.
I'm going to turn the dress form this way, and Edna's going to turn
the same
way. Okay, one of the differences that this is ideal figure, and my figure, as you can see, is not ideal.
Which is most of us.
Exactly. I have a sway back, and this dress form does not. And as you can see from the front of the dress form, this dress form has little narrow hips. I have nice full hips, which makes a difference. And on the back of the dress form, again, the back is nice and smooth. Okay, and I have a rounded back.
There are curvatures of our own spines.
Exactly. And as far as the shoulders, her shoulders run parallel, and they're nice and even. Mine roll forward. Okay, and those are the major considerations when a person would be designing or making a dress for me that they would have to take
into consideration. Well, why don't we take a look at a real pattern, a commercial pattern, and maybe you can show us how we would start to make this perfect unitard that would fit for our own bodies.
Okay, but before that, Barbara would like to tell you a little bit more about the lines on this dress.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to compare the lines on the dress form and the lines on the leotard. The lines, this is the princess line. If you have ever had a princess dress, this is where the line is formed, and they have one running from the center of the shoulder down through the hip. They have a waistline, a neckline, the armhole, and we have put these straps on this leotard for the same purpose, and this gives us a way to help our eye judge what we're doing and allows us to get the perfect fit that a designer would get on this form.
And one of the things that a dress form does not normally come with is arms. And on our leotard here, we have the elbow line, and we have a bicep line, and a straight grain line.
As well as the length.
Exactly, for the length of the arm.
And yet this could be used to design if we want dolman sleeves or any type, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. This whole outfit can be used for any design fitting technique.
Even pants?
Even pants.
Pants and skirts. Okay. Well, this is a typical pattern that we would see to make a shell, I guess. Do you call it a shell?
A fitting shell. And it comes from any pattern company, okay? And what it entails is a bodice, a skirt, and a sleeve pattern, okay? And the pattern is based on industry standards, okay? So they've done a survey and they said, okay, all women for a size 12 or a size 14 fit exactly like this pattern.
Just like that mannequin would have been.
Exactly. And the larger picture here is the actual pattern. And what they've done is they've put a shoulder dart and a waist dart, because this is the back of a bodice, okay? And they want you to fit this to your body, okay? And one of the process that Barbara will continue to explain is, this is not me.
This is not you. Okay. And some of the rest of us have encountered this too.
Exactly.
Okay, so where would you start, Barbara, if you're trying to fit a bodice?
Let me just give a brief survey of what other methods tell you to do. Other methods tell you to slit the pattern. You know, you take your measurements, you take the pattern's measurements, you compare the two, you decide what alterations you're going to make. You either slit the pattern or pivot and slide. But what you're doing is you're moving the whole seam line, and that's not necessarily what the body needs.
Okay, can you show us on this how we would start?
This, what we do is we trace, this is for a guideline. We trace the sewing line on this pattern,
Not the cutting line, the
not
sewing
the cutting line, onto muslin, following the straight of grain. This line here on the pattern means they want the lengthwise grain there. And this is the pattern's shape. And this is the muslin that I draped previously on Edna. And you can see some of the changes that have occurred.
Now, the blue lines represent the changes, is
The
this
blue
correct?
lines are the changes.
Uh-huh. So quite a few, a
There are
number of
quite a
changes
few.
for this.
And there are some principles involved that help you get exactly the right outline. And I'll show that to you now. Edna, will you turn this way? The center front and center back of any pattern have to be on the straight of grain.
The center
And
front
so
or the center
you
back.
follow the tape that runs down the center of the back, and you pin all.
And you're
Perhaps
just
I should
pinning
have
it.
Edna stand this way so that you can see what I'm doing.
You're going straight down the center
I'm
back.
going straight down the center back. Now, unfortunately, I'm running into the mic here.
Just go part way down. Right
Okay,
there will
but
work.
this would fold in and go right to her waist. Okay, now the idea of draping is that you're going to keep the fabric as straight as possible across the widest part of the body, and then you're going to pin into the armhole tape that we have over there.
I guess you'll let us know if we go too far deep.
Oh, well, one of the great things about this system is that it has these scraps on it,
to pin onto.
to pin into the
Right.
surface, and so she will never stick me.
Okay.
Now that we've done this, we have divided the muslin into the top and the bottom, and we remove the excess,
The excess fullness.
like that.
So you're just actually pinning that dart down or
Exactly.
flat as
And
Edna
we
needs it.
remove the excess over here. And then if you turn a little bit this way, Edna, and finish the dart.
Lots of pinning. This is the patient time, isn't
Yeah.
it? You've got to get
Right.
the muslin to fit,
And
then the
then
rest of it does.
we pin it to the tape on the side. Now, since this has been a muslin that we have done before, we have added the necessary ease, and that's something that you do after you do your original draping, so that you have a little bit of room under the arm to move. The final product should not be so closely fitted that the person can't
You
move.
need that ease of movement.
Exactly. So this is how this will be.
Let's turn this way.
On-
We can see the rest of it.
Edna, I wish we had this microwave, but we can't do that. But that would fit to her waist if we didn't have that there. Okay,
Okay.
now I'm going to add the front, which I had previously draped. And here,
This you've already
again,
made the changes on.
Here again, we've changed a lot. We put the dart originally was on the side, and now we've put the dart in the armhole. For women with large busts, that tends to be the best place to put the dart for basic
fit.
pattern purposes.
Once you have this fitted, what do you do with this? How do you work with it?
There are a number of things that you can do to, let me just put that way, and that's how it fits to her when we have all the pins there. What we do when we finish with this, we can make a series of silhouettes that people can take fashion patterns from the center front and center back line on. They can strip away all of the style details and just take their silhouette
Just
and
the
add
basic.
it onto them.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to cut and spread or pivot and slide.
And then those details are added after you get the perfect fitting pattern, I assume.
Exactly, exactly. You can also drape. If you have a sewing buddy and you both learn how to do this, you
Work
can
with each
drape an
other.
actual fashion pattern on the body if you don't want to get into designing, and that is very helpful also. And then finally, you can take these patterns and design your own patterns if that's what you like to do.
Well, it's obvious a lot of thought has gone into this.
Definitely. And as Barbara said, that you can design patterns. That's what the professionals do in the couture,
shops.
They do flat pattern techniques from their draped garment.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here to show us how this is done, and I can see that it takes lots of work and effort, but maybe we've shown people what's really involved in getting a pattern to fit. Thank you.
Okay.